Hamas is believed to have taken at least 150 hostages in the aftermath of the deadly attack on Israel. Now the terrorist entity has threatened to kill a hostage every time Israel attacks without warning. Commentator and published author Dan Perry wrote an opinion piece for Newsweek entitled "New Gaza War on Israel Highlights a False Conception." Dan joins us now to discuss. Dan, thanks once again for being with us for another day of coverage here. You're joining us from Tel Aviv. Before we get to your piece, just how are you holding up, and are you in a safe place?
Yeah, well, I'm in my apartment with the family. We're fine here. The chances of being hit by a rocket fired from Gaza are statistically very small. But of course, it is an uncomfortable situation. But it really isn't about me or the people in Tel Aviv. It's about the front lines on the border of Gaza.
Yeah, well, we wish you and your family continued safety. Let's get to your piece now. In it, you wrote, quote, "The idea that Gaza could be blocked and cut off from Israel by a security group and ruled by terrorist groups was shattered when the missile attacks started." In what ways does the war highlight a false conception in your eyes?
Well, the right-wing government in Israel basically, with plausible deniability, approved of Hamas being in charge in Gaza, even though they are a terrorist group dedicated to Israel's destruction, because they thought they could contain the conflict to occasional rounds of rockets and Israeli retaliation. There's been like 5 of them in the past 16 years. And that Israel could somehow survive this, and it doesn't really matter that 2 million people under the boot of terrorists in Gaza, I mean the Gaza Palestinians. They assumed that there would never be a successful invasion. That obviously collapsed completely on Saturday. It was inevitable that it would happen eventually. And at this point, of course, there is talk in Israel of the absolute need to go back into Gaza at some point and root them out, however large the cost. Because at the end of the day, the idea that a neighbor that shares 30 miles or 50 kilometers of your border is run by a terrorist group controlled partly by Iran, armed to the teeth, and dedicated not just to the destruction of Israel, but nihilism and opposition to the entire concept of Western civilization is not something that can prosper for long.
And Dan, you bring me to my next point, because I think top of mind for so many people watching, particularly from afar, is how does something like this come to an end? I mean, is negotiating even possible here? Because Hamas doesn't seem like the negotiating type. They don't just want land back. They want Israel eradicated off the map entirely, not even recognized. So what concessions would they even consider here?
I'm not going to claim there's an easy answer here. What's clear is that the idea that it's somehow desirable to have Hamas in charge of Gaza because this weakens the moderate Palestinian Authority in the West Bank, because that was a strategy. That has failed. At this point, there's a terrible situation because of the fact that they're holding hostages. That clearly has the possibility of staying Israel's hand in taking direct action on the ground to root out Hamas. And I should note also that Hamas is not capable of, but systematically inclined to use their own population as human shields, thus creating damage to the civilian infrastructure and to the lives of civilians inside Gaza. So any action Israel takes at this point on the ground inside Gaza will carry with it a risk not just to the lives of hostages, some of whom, as we have heard, are American citizens and citizens of other Western countries and Mexico as well, I think, but also to the Palestinian population. It is a complete and total breakdown of the idea that it is okay to have Hamas replace the Palestinian Authority in Gaza. And that attaches quite correctly to the current government in Israel, along with other intelligence and logistical failures and tactical failures and political failures of the past year that also attach to that government in Israel, which is why, despite the fact that when you have a breakdown that leads to this level of an emergency, there's a sense of a need to unify and not talk politics. Right. The fact that the knives are coming out, and you will hear more and more in coming days an accounting of the things that happen, not just in terms of the broad strategy that we've been talking about here that is broken down, but also actions taken by the 10 months of this government's during the 10 months
and what the future looks like
directly led to this.
Yeah, what the future looks like for Benjamin Netanyahu, what the future looks like for Israelis, for the hostages. Latest number is at least 150. Some of those could be Americans. So we have our eyes closely on it. Dan Perry, thanks once again for joining us.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.